Hello, my name is David Neadil from Blue Feather, and today I'm going to be showing you how we can use a PowerShell script to get a free SSL certificate for a FileMaker server deployment from the Let's Encrypt service. I've created a brand new FileMaker server deployment on a Windows Server 2012 R2 server using Amazon's EC2 service. This is a pretty fresh deployment on here. I've just got the FileMaker server up and running. If I open up a browser here, I can show you that this is available at letest.bluefeathergroup.com:16,000. If I try to pull this up right now, we're going to get an error about the connection security. We can see there's an issue with the certificate, so let's take a look. If I hit View Certificate, we can see we're using the FMI default certificate, which is the default SSL certificate you get when you install FileMaker Server. So we're going to get a real SSL certificate, a valid SSL certificate for letest.bluefeathergroup.com. So if we go back to the server here, the first thing we need to do is install the PowerShell gallery by going to PowerShellGallery.com. This is going to help us install some of the utilities that we need, which will let us communicate with the Let's Encrypt service. I'm going to click on Get PowerShell Get for PS3 and 4 and hit download. This is a 64-bit deployment, so I'm going to get the x64 installer. It's a very small download. I'm going to run that, click through, and that's installed. All set. All right, on the desktop of my server here, I have the Get SSL PowerShell script. I'm going to right-click on this and edit this in Notepad++. There's two lines that I need to change here. The first one is the domain that we want to get the SSL certificate for. So this is the Let's Encrypt test server. So we're going to do letest.bluefeathergroup.com. And you have to put in your real email address so that Let's Encrypt can contact you if there are any problems. So I'm going to do david@bluefeathergroup.com. If you've installed FileMaker Server to somewhere other than the default installation directory, you can change the path to your server here. This is just a standard deployment, so we don't need to make any adjustments in this case. I'm going to save this and close this edited script. All right, so the next thing we need to do is launch PowerShell as an administrator. So I have the shortcut down here, so I'm just going to say run as administrator. It's going to open up an administrator PowerShell window. The first thing we need to do on here is make a security policy change, which will allow Windows to run these scripts that we've downloaded onto this machine. So I'm going to do set execution policy, scope, local machine, unrestricted. And this is going to allow you to run scripts. So hit yes, and that's all set. The next thing to do is install the actual module that we're going to be using. So we'll do install module. Oops. Install module. And it's called Acme Sharp. And this is what that installer was for that we ran before. This is going to go ahead and download this from PowerShell Gallery now. So I'll just hit yes onto these. And hit yes again. And it's all set. That's run. So it's important that we ran this as an administrator, because if we were not running PowerShell as an administrator, we would not have been able to install those modules that we just installed. Since we've already made the changes to the script that we needed to make, and we've installed Acme Sharp, we're now actually ready to run that script. So this script is just saved on the desktop right now. So I'm going to change to the desktop directory. And if we look, there it is, Get SSL PS1. So I'm just going to run that now. So this is going to start making these requests to Let's Encrypt. And we'll get we'll get an SSL certificate and install it on our FileMaker server. When it's all done, it will automatically restart FileMaker server, and the certificate should be installed. So let's give this a second to run. So there we go. It's got the certificate, it's installed it, and now it's restarting FileMaker server. And there's FileMaker server started back up. Let's go back to our browser and see what happens if we look at this URL again. So I'm going to go to the same URL, letest.bluefeathergroup.com. So here we go. We now have a valid SSL certificate installed on FileMaker server. If we look at the details of this and hit View Certificate, we can see that we're no longer using the FMI default certificate. We have a real certificate from Let's Encrypt. The certificates from Let's Encrypt are short term. This one expires in February, so we'll need to rerun this script every couple of months. But we've got it. It's installed on here. We'll set the schedule up for that in a minute. But before we do that, there's one more change that we need to make. Right now, the SSL certificate is installed, but FileMaker Pro is not going to be using a secure connection to connect to the server. We want to make sure that we have that option enabled in the FileMaker server admin console. So let's log in here, and we will go to Database Server, click on the Security tab, and I'm going to check the Use SSL for Database Connections checkbox, and then hit Save down at the bottom. So it says Save Successful, restart the FileMaker server service. Okay, so I'm going to hit Log Out here. We're done. Close that, and we'll go back to our server. Let me open up our services list and find FileMaker server on here and hit Restart. So there we go. The server has restarted. And now I can open up FileMaker Pro. And here is our letest server. The only file that we have on here is the FileMaker server sample. So I'm going to hold Option to force authentication. And then we can see here when this opens up, we now have that green lock at the top of the window showing that we have a secure connection with a valid SSL certificate. That's it. It's pretty simple to get it going. Now, as you saw before, is it done here? As you saw before, this certificate is only good through February. So we're going to need to make sure that this runs every couple of months to renew the certificate. So to do that, let's open up the task scheduler. Now I'm going to move this file, I'm going to put it on the C drive to make this an easy to access file. And close that. And let's make a new task. So I'm going to go to the task scheduler library here and do create basic task. And this is going to be our Get SSL Certificate task. We'll hit next. We're going to run this monthly, let's say, and we'll run this once a month on the 9th of the month. Today's the 9th, so why not? You can set this up for whatever schedule you like. So we want to start a program. The program what we want to run is PowerShell with an argument that points to our script. So we put this on the C drive. It's just located at C getSSL.ps1. So I'm just going to pass that here, C:\getSSL.ps1, and hit next. And I'm going to check the box. This is open the properties dialog. All right, so that schedule has been created. These are the properties for that schedule. Now, as you said before, this must run as an administrator. So I'm going to select the Run with Highest Privileges checkbox and run whether user is logged in or not. The reason we do that is to make sure that you don't have to be logged in and to make sure that this is actually running as an administrator. So I'll hit OK on here. That's going to ask for the administrator password. I'm going to paste that in. And there we go. Our schedule is set up, and in this case, it's going to run at 7:37 p.m. on the 9th day of the month, and we're going to get a new certificate once per month. We probably actually only need to do that every 2.5 months about to make sure that we get those certificates before they expire. But that's it. We are set, and this is ready to go. We can close this now, and we're all done. Thanks for watching. If you have any other questions, you can contact me. Just send an email to contact@bluefeathergroup.com or visit the Bluefeather website at bluefeathergroup.com, and we'll be happy to talk with you and answer any questions that you have. Thank you very much.